What I want to do is I want to thank Global Ubuntu, who has helped fund this program. And they are funded by the Georgia Council on Developmental Disabilities, who does some really amazing work. And this is a conversation to, what we say, widen the table, to give voices to folks that aren't always invited to be at the head of the table, on screen. And so this is an opportunity for that, is to make sure that we have everybody's voice at the table.
Absolutely.
So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Kimberly, and she is going to lead the panel. But I'm really thrilled that you all are here, and I'm thrilled that everybody who's watching is here with us tonight. Thank you.
We're all grateful for your support, everybody.
Kimberly, unmute yourself.
Kimberly.
Gotta hit on you, babe.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So Zoom is a little weird for me. I usually have to call in for people to hear me from Zoom. So just if you see my cell phone, that's what's happening. So I want to thank everybody for coming, and I want to thank the panelists for being a part of this. I'm going to quickly introduce everybody. When I say your name, just wave your hand so everybody knows it's you. So we have Gray Castillo. She moved here from the Dominican Republic. She is a graduate of Universidad Iberoamericana, where she earned her first degree in clinical psychology and counseling psychology, and she also earned a master's in psychotherapy intervention in psychology. So thank you, Gray, for being here.
You're welcome.
Nicole DeWard is the CEO of two businesses, Shine Health and Wellness, where she provides personal training and health coaching. She is also the CEO of Rise Coffee and Tea, a cafe with a healthy flair that employs people with special needs where they can shine their light. So thank you for coming, Nicole.
Thank you.
And we have Jimmy Frills. Hi, Jimmy. He is an intern at Compassion in Atlanta. He is passionate about writing because it allows him to express himself, and he is also an aspiring playwright. Thank you, Jimmy, for being here.
And actually, I will tell you that, can I tell you that Jimmy started as an intern, but he's actually now, he works for Compassion in Atlanta.
Nice.
Oh, congratulations, Jimmy. That's good news.
I want to make sure that we graduated from his intern status.
That's great. That is great. And last but not least, we have Tim Nasia. Did I pronounce that right, Tim? Okay.
Neja.
Tim Nasia?
Neja.
Neja. Okay, Neja. Tim is 25 years old. He has high-functioning autism. He works for Rise Coffee and Tea as a can you pronounce it?
Barista.
Okay.
At Rise.
Yes, he's a barista. He's a buddy and a blogger. He works as an assistant manager he works as the assistant to the facilities manager at his church. Yeah. He is a fan of movies, and he reviews them online. And yes, so we're going to dive into our first question. If I need to slow down talking, because sometimes I talk fast, just let me know and I will slow down. So our first question, what would you say are some basic principles of inclusive spaces? Who wants to just raise their hand and start that question off? Or
I'll go ahead and kick it off. First of all, thank you, Kimberly. It was an honor to meet you today in the cafe. And I am a personal trainer I have 4 children, and 2 of my children have special needs. And so being 16 and 18, being a mom and a business owner, really having a heart to have inclusive spaces for my children that gives them a place to shine their light in the world. Because when as I was raising them, granted they're still 16 and 18, but thinking, I know there's got to be something more than bag bagging groceries at Kroger. And not that that's a bad thing to do, but I thought there's got to be more things that my kids can do and really have an opportunity to shine, right? And so for me as a parent, having an inclusive space that was safe. My daughter Becca has Down syndrome, so she can't really voice a lot of, she's verbal, but if somebody were to violate her in any way or somebody was unkind to her, she really wouldn't be able to verbalize that to me. And so having a safe place that was inclusive, not wanting her to only work with people with special needs, but to have an inclusive environment. I was really a proponent of that in school and then also now in the workplace. And so I'm honored to be able to own a business that has that capability to employ people with special needs and typical functioning people to work alongside one another, which I believe is so important as we learn a modeling behavior. And it's one of the things that I'm so grateful to Tim. He's such a leader at Rise and loves to talk about his special needs, right? But then also being able to rise up, pun intended, right, Tim? To rise up and to be a leader, not only for the other people with special needs, but also that people can see his initiative and how he works. And it's always of the highest quality. And so we're honored to have Tim on staff and really being a leader and learning so much about how we can lead others in the workplace through Tim. And so as a mom, super grateful as well.
Right. Tim, I have a question. So what are some things at Rise that makes you feel included?
I think it's just people friendly. People are friendly there. Feel you can trust everybody there. You feel like you can trust everybody and feel more open about it. And like, I mean, as long as like of course customers are going to be friendly to you, but I mean, of course, obviously the employees got to be friendly first and stuff to make a good impression. But it's like, it's just a friendly environment. It feels like you can connect with more people. It feels like you can trust more people. You feel like you can actually trust people. Like you can actually, well, I know, of course, a lot of places, you can trust a lot of people at a lot of places. Not to try to be like, oh, the world's all perfect and stuff like that. But it's just like, it's like look, a lot of places are, and I know it's just better really for anybody to feel comfortable and feel like they have the capability to be able to trust everybody, because it's a shame when like you're at a place and it feels like you can't really trust everybody for good reasons. So which is a bummer, because it always feels good to be able to have trust for people in the world, but it's also important to not try to be like condescending too.
Right. I think you raised a good point there, Tim. I think it's very important not to be condescending to marginalized voices and people who usually don't have a chance to speak up for themselves and represent themselves. I think that's a really good point that you bring up, Tim. And that's something that I liked about your coffee shop, Nicole. It's not just a place as in we're creating a space for these group of people, but it's also a stage for them to shine. It's really that kind of workplace. So I'm going to go into my next question about self-determining. And this question was really, this concept is really important, I think, for us to dive into to understand what good allyship looks like. I'm a caregiver to my mother. My mother can't walk. She had a stroke and it took away her ability to walk. So the definition of self-determining according to the American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, is people with intellectual and or developmental disabilities have the same right to and responsibilities that accompany self-determination self-determination as everyone else. They are entitled to opportunities, respectful support, and the authority to exert control in their lives, to direct their services, and to act on their own behalf. I think that is such a important concept to understand. Being a able-bodied person, I know that it's important for me to be able to do the things that I want in life and be able to pursue the goals in life. And when I became a caregiver for my mother, it's been important to me to improve her quality of life and not create a life for her that she just has to settle for. So I think building good allyship, it's important to be aware of this definition, this concept of self-determination. And I want to give Jimmy a chance to talk because I actually learned this term from his website. Jimmy, can you tell us about the inclusive education program you participated in Georgia State and how you discovered writing?
Yes. Hi everyone. I discovered writing by accident. I decided to take a dramatic writing class, and that's when I kind of figured out what I wanted to do in my life. Is that I wanted to be a writer. Now, that's not to say that everyone has to be a writer. That's because I'm physically disabled. That's the only thing I can actually do without doing physical stuff, as far as picking up boxes and the article that I wrote on inclusive education, actually the word self-determining came from them. They came up with that word. And I really try to embody that. And that's when I decided to become a writer, because it doesn't, that's that's kind of like self-determining my career path, if that makes sense.
Yes. So, gonna work. Can you pull up Jimmy's website? So on Jimmy's website, jimmyfrills.com. Frills is spelled Freels. I really encourage everybody to check out his website. He has videos, he has his blogs and his writings. He participated in, so Georgia colleges and universities actually have a inclusive education program where people living with disabilities can participate in different programs that teaches them a skill set. And the program, and here it is right here. So the program Jimmy participated in was Inclusive Digital Expression and Literacy Program. And that is where he discovered his love for writing. And Jimmy, if I'm talking too much for you, then you let me know. 'cause we discussed that before. I didn't want to talk for you, so you just let me know.
I think everyone can express themselves in their own ways. This is just my way of expressing myself in my chosen career path.
Yeah. So yes, and I personally found Jimmy's website enlightening and very informative. Jimmy has a perspective that I'm not aware of, so I really appreciate Jimmy expressing himself through writing, through video, and through his website. So that is the inclusive education program that Jimmy went through at Georgia State University is a very good example of what putting the tools in people's hands so they can self-determine their life and create opportunities for themselves. Jimmy, I know you also discussed wanting to be a playwright. Do you want to talk about your goals as a playwright?
I want to open my own theater company and produce my own plays, but also allow other people, including disabled people, to produce their own scripts and their own writing. They may not be able to express themselves, but I would figure a way to get their script onto the stage.
So Jimmy, that is very powerful and very beautiful. You're basically talking about using playwrights and theaters to open doors for other people because the door has been opened up for you, right? Through writing.
Yes, but I would also open the door for myself as well.
Yeah, that's powerful. And that is what self-determining looks like. That's what self-determining is about. So we're going to move on to our next question. So right now we're in the season of coronavirus, and it has drastically changed everyone's lives, not just if you are living with a disability or you're not. So Gray, we have not heard from you, so maybe you can tackle this question. How has COVID-19 impacted your life? And yeah, we'll start there. How has COVID-19 impacted your life?
Well, to be honest, in my case, I think I've been coping well with the whole situation. I tend to adapt easily. Mm-hmm. What has frightened me the most of the COVID-19 is the well-being of my family, actually. Like, they are the ones that are more exposed because they're going to the supermarket or they have to go to work. And like, my mom is 60 years old and diabetic. My father is 71. So I'm more afraid for them than for me, actually.
Okay. That is very sweet and very thoughtful of you. I can definitely understand that. Something that I've been concerned about with being a caregiver to my mom is bringing the virus back to her. I try to stay home as much as I can, but that's something that's very scary. Yeah. And my brother, who lives with us, he's an essential worker. He has not stopped working since this has happened.
Exactly. Well, I was in the Dominican Republic actually when the whole outbreak came to this part of the world. And I spent 4 months with my mom, and I was like kind of panicking Like when she
Mhm.
went to the supermarket, like we have to disinfect everything, use your mask, hand sanitizer. Like that was the most change and stressful situation for me, actually.
Yeah. So Gray, you are my optimistic person out of the group. When I first talked to you, there's something I recognized about your personality. You're very optimistic. So what is something positive that has come from this, from having to quarantine and COVID-19 in your opinion?
Oh, that's an easy one. I think that quality time with the family. Like we are obligated to spend some time together and
Yes.
to limit our social group. So spending time with them, more time with them actually, has been great in my opinion. Like it has been for years that I haven't sit down with my family and like play board games or watch a movie all together, and that was pretty fun. Let me see what else. Oh, and time. I think that the COVID-19 has given us time to reflect also, to do things around the house that you never have the time to do, to appreciate more the little things in life.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a way it has separated people, but it has bringing them together also.
Yeah.
Right. I can see examples of that. So we're going to move to our next question. So in the context of support, what are, and this question is open to the group, and I want to encourage everybody to be honest and to feel safe in this space, to share your truth and own your truth. So this is supposed to be a judgment-free zone. And keep in mind that your story is teaching somebody else. So I'm just encouraging you to speak up and tell your truth. So when it comes to having support with your disability or just, functioning in everyday life or in your career, what are some ways that people overcompensate when trying to help you? Tim, I know you said you appreciate when people aren't condescending to you.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer this question, Tim?
Yeah, like you said, like with how I'm not a fan of being condescending or having someone else being condescending, and also I don't care for how one would patronize somebody with disability too. They try to like what I don't care for, what I don't like about it, which I had like a little bit of an experience in high school, but like the patronizing thing, it's kind of just like it's kind of like they're treating you lower, like you're a kid or something, and it's kind of annoying that way. Like thankfully, I haven't had a lot of people that were like that of me and stuff, which I'm grateful for that. But like sometimes, like I get it, like you want to make sure somebody with the disability is doing okay. You gotta make sure, but at the same time, you also gotta treat them fair. Treat them like how you would treat other people that don't have disabilities. Not be patronizing stuff, because that just kind of makes it a little bit worse. Like,
right.
It's like almost being like too mean-spirited versus like patronizing, where you're like almost like faking being nice.
Right. Oh wow, that's a good way to describe it, Tim. So Tim, if somebody is overcompensating and they're patronizing to you, how do you address it, or have you come up with a way to address it and kind of ask them to stop and take a step back?
I think if I feel I have the energy for it or something.
You
Okay.
gotta decide if it's worth it, huh, Tim?
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to ask you, Nicole. Oh, go ahead, Gray.
No, that I was gonna say, sorry to interrupt, that sometimes when people assume that you can't do something, like you could ask, are you comfortable doing this or that, if we are in a work environment or something like that? Like just ask first, what are you comfortable with? What can you do? What you cannot? What are or just asking, do you need help with this?
Right.
Thanks.
Can I add to that? I think how I think I can express myself for writing more than I can tell someone that they're bugging me too much. I don't think when I was little, I felt so not confident, but now that I'm older and doing a lot more adult things, I feel a lot more confident.
Sorry to interrupt. I need a bathroom back.
Go ahead, buddy.
Thanks.
We'll be here, Tim, when you get back. So Jimmy, you were saying that when you were younger, you didn't have a lot of confidence, but you're more confident now as you do more, right?
As I'm starting my career and writing.
Jimmy, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you were saying. As you are
starting my career in writing.
Okay, so starting your career in writing. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gaining more confidence as you're continuing to write and starting your career in writing.
Yeah.
Okay. Nicole, so how do you help your buddies and your volunteers not to overcompensate and be patronizing, be defending?
You know, one of the things that I have found is that everyone's intentions, especially if they're coming into a work environment where most of our volunteers and buddies come because they have a heart for people with special needs. And I love the name of your organization, Compassion in Atlanta, because that's really what we're looking for overall, is for people to have a heart of compassion. And so when somebody has compassion, they really have a knack for coming alongside and assisting. We really believe in the do it together philosophy, not that I'm gonna help you do it. We're just gonna do it together. And so when you do things together, there's a lot of modeling behaviors, as I mentioned before, that are helpful to helping the barista grow and learn how to do things solo. And not because we want them to go off and do things on their own, because we really love the being together philosophy. But I've had a number of buddies and volunteers who've had to be coached around what the condescending nature might even look like. For example, it might look like, hey, we're going to go clean tables, and the barista stands, or the buddy stands behind and watches to be sure they're doing it correctly. And so it takes somebody in management to say, and I can understand why they would think that would be the way we would help, right? Because they want them to let them do it themselves, but also doing it correctly. And so the way that we believe in modeling, it has to be coached from the top, right? We do things together, and they will learn how to do things correctly by doing it together. And so that way, there's not that sense of being, you know, we have some younger volunteers as well, and they have a tendency to be a little bossy. And maybe even if somebody has a lot of our volunteers and buddies have siblings with special needs. And so they have a tendency to be more bossy because they're used to bossing their sibling around. Because it doesn't matter if you have special needs or not, you're going to boss your siblings around. So that tends to happen all around. Right? Jimmy, do you have any siblings? Are they bossy?
Not at the moment. When she's 28 and she was in Texas. But when we were younger, she well, I can't speak for her, but I felt kind of alone in this disabled universe because she was much older than me, but she always has my back, and to this day she still does, even though she lives in Texas.
Jimmy, can you say that again? Because I didn't understand you.
She always had my back when she was
your back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when and she still does, even though she's married and she lives in Texas now. Yeah. So
even though she what? Did you catch that, Kimberly?
Yeah. So
she lives in Texas now.
She lives in Texas, so she still has your back, even if she doesn't live near you.
Yeah.
Super good.
So what I missed, Nicole, and thank you for helping. Who are you referring to, Jimmy?
His sister. He said his sister is older and has his back.
Okay. So that's good to know. I'm going to move into the next question. So we just answered the question of how people may overcompensate. I want to discuss good and positive examples of allyship or organizations that have made you feel safe, accepted, empowered, or heard. So who wants to start with this question?
How about if I start off and anyone can jump in? When I started the compassion Atlanta,
I'll be back. Yeah.
I felt out of my league, but they opened the door and when they opened the door to a new opportunity for me.
Yes. So I want to just co-sign with that. So as just a human being, it's very important to me to feel safe and to feel welcome and to feel heard. And they are very good at doing that at Compassionate Atlanta. So thank you guys at Compassionate Atlanta for being a space and an example of, you know, making people feel safe and welcome and heard. Gray, do you want to hop in?
Does Shepherd Center count like an ally?
Does
Shepherd
I didn't hear
Center?
Yes.
Well, the first time I went to Shepherd Center, I felt like it was a little piece of heaven.
Aw.
Nice.
I mean, yes, they were very nice, and to see like a gym that is totally accessible, how they try to make you feel comfortable when you're in the sitting, how do they call this? The seating specialist. I got my new chair from there, and it's awesome. I learned recently that they teach people to drive, and they help you. Yes, they have driving lessons, and they help you see what type of car you need depending on your abilities. So for me, that was amazing. I really am looking forward to getting those driving lessons.
Wow, that's great. I thank you for sharing that experience. That sounds like another example of an organization creating opportunities for people living with disabilities to self-determine.
Yes.
Because before then, driving wasn't really an option for you. Is that the case?
Yes, exactly. Back in the Dominican Republic, we don't even have a dealership that would adapt a vehicle. So they don't have a school to teach people with disability how to drive. So it was a little impossible, at least for my case. So when I came here, it was like this whole new world opened.
Wow. Okay. Have you started driving yet?
Not
or
yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to get the paperwork done to begin.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you.
Well, thank you.
If you hit anything, don't take it personally, because it happens to the best of you.
Well, thank you. No take.
So, yeah. Let's see. So before we, I'm going to start bringing the discussion to a close, but before we do that, do we have any questions from people who are just watching this? Okay, I don't see any questions. But if you have questions before we wrap this up, please let me know. But I was thinking about the closing remarks and what to say and how to end this. And I thought about what Compassionate Atlanta's charter says in the first paragraph. So I want to just read that to you guys and leave you with those words to think about and 2 questions to ask yourself moving forward, and to put the information and the knowledge that you learned here, how to put it into action. So I'm going to read that real quick. The principle of compassion lies at the heart of all religious, ethical, and spiritual traditions, calling us always to treat all others as we wish to be treated ourselves. Compassion impels us to work tirelessly to alleviate the suffering of our fellow creatures, to dethrone ourselves from the center of our world and put another there, and to honor the inviolable sanctity of every single human being, treating everybody without exception with absolute justice, equity, and respect. So I think in this conversation, we have heard a lot of examples of where suffering has been alleviated. So Jimmy being able to express himself through writing, Gray learning how to, or getting the opportunity to drive, which is really awesome. And I think it's very important, like when we have these discussions and we have these conversations, that we don't just sit on this knowledge and wisdom, but we actually put it into action. So 2 questions I want you guys to ask yourself as the audience is, how can I practice compassion in my allyship with people living with disabilities? And what, as a personally self-determining human being, how can I create space and opportunities for differently abled human beings to also self-determine in the ways that is best fit for them and help them meet their aspirations and their needs? So that's just something I encourage the audience in attendance to think about today and to carry with them. Does anybody want to give any final thoughts just on good allyship, building inclusive spaces, or living more compassionately?
I think you just gotta make sure you just gotta be like a great role model and stuff. Just gotta make sure you gotta be a really good role model of what you do, set a great example for those for your followers. Followers, no matter if they have a disability or not, or no matter what ethnicity and orientation and gender and stuff like that. You just gotta make sure you're setting the right examples.
Right. Tim, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that's why this discussion was so important to have. So, because sometimes we want to help, like Nicole, like you said, people have good intentions and we don't know how to help, or we're over helping. So I thank everybody for sharing their stories and sharing their wisdom within their unique stories. So people who are interested in allyship, they know how to do it well and not in a way that's condescending or demeaning for anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any final thoughts or comments?
Yes.
We all have one.
There's a question from the attendees.
Okay.
This question is for Gray. What was the name of the organization you mentioned that you enjoyed and that teach people to drive?
Shepherd Center.
Okay.
I just wanted
Nicole
to share real quick. Yes, one of my final thoughts is just being a parent and now an employer of people with special needs. I believe in celebrating that, because if I've learned anything from my kids, especially like I said, I have 4 and I learn from all of them. As a parent, you're always learning from your kids, but the true nature of someone with, I believe when someone has a disability, whether they can express that they have a disability or not, I don't think that my daughter with Down syndrome has any idea that she's different from anybody else, and neither does she care. So, and my son has autism and he's the same. He thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And so like, he just thinks as does Tim. Like, I love being with people, and I can sense that in Gray and Jimmy. You both know how incredibly awesome you are, and I love that. And then there are people that are typical functioning like myself, and I have a lot of clients here at the Wellness Center that struggle with self-esteem. And what I love to see people with disabilities celebrating themselves because they know they rock. And that is something that I believe so many people can glean wisdom from, and to live in a place that honors who you truly are. Love that you said that, Kimberly. How do you honor who you are and own it in a way that says, here is who I am, and this is how I shine my light. And to be in that space and to be able to be a parent of people who do that, and be able to encourage the community to celebrate it. Because as Tim said, I think there's a lot of times where people are condescending, and sometimes as a parent, I've had people tell me that they feel bad for me, that I have children with special needs, or that they could never be a parent of somebody who is different. And I say, I'm no different than you. We're all the same. I've just chosen to celebrate it, right? And
Right.
so when we can all live in that place of celebrating, and I love, Gray, that you said, you didn't say the Shepherd Center was looking for what your disabilities were, that they looked for your abilities. What can you do?
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
is to be celebrated as well, because you see yourself being above the line. What can I do? And I'm open and I'm curious and I want to grow, not woe is me victimhood. Here is what I've got going on. And
Yeah,
so
I think my
it's
mom did a
amazing.
good job.
Yes. Yay for mama. And you
Yeah.
chose to listen, Gray. So yay for you.
Well, thank you very
Yes.
much.
Mhm. How about you, Jimmy? What are your final thoughts?
Yeah.
I think we can all learn from this conversation, and we can all improve our own self advocacy. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. Just just go out there and do what you want to do. As you call it, just go out there and if you have a calling on your life, go out there and do it. Just like I had a calling to write and to start my own business in the theater community.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So Jimmy, I thank you for that so much. That's something I've had to learn in my life, especially with being a caregiver and dealing with a lot of other difficult circumstances. If you have a goal in life, no matter what, just go for it. Yeah, those are very powerful words, Jimmy. So thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
So are there any other closing thoughts or any final questions? Okay, so no other questions. Leanne, do you want to close it up or share any other events,
Well,
compassionate?
I want to tell you that my heart is full. I thank you for what you said about Compassionate Atlanta, because we really do strive to make this a welcoming place. Gray, what you said about the Shepherd Center, and I've worked with them before, and they are amazing. And the fact that you said you went there and it felt like heaven. Wouldn't it be beautiful if we could have spaces that feel like heaven, like feel like home, that feel like community in that way, that we know we belong? And so I'm getting teary a little bit, sorry. But I think it's beautiful. And I think this is what we work for all the time, is to say we belong. And so I'm so grateful to Kimberly, because I know she's worked really hard on this. And what I'm kind of imagining is a time after COVID when Gray comes to pick me up in the car.
Yes.
We drive
I hope
together
so.
to go and see Jimmy's play, or we go
Yes.
to Jimmy's house and theater. I don't know. Jimmy, work on it and tell me later what it is. And then we come and Tim makes us a beautiful cup of coffee, Rise Coffee. I mean, I see it happening. So we just got to get over COVID. And then you guys need to create all the spaces that you're going to create. And then I will be picked up with Gray and we'll come and see you. So
It sounds like a plan.
Oh, Leanne, I want to say something really quick. We forgot to spotlight Tim. Tim is also a writer, and he has a very strong voice. Tim, do you want to say something about your upcoming blogs with Rise Coffee and Tea?
Yeah, so it was an idea. For the blog for Rise News, it was like an idea by Nicole Thaub, and as the biographies were slowing down a bit, there was this idea I was offered to write for Rise News and stuff, which I think is kind of neat because, even though I'm not like the main person running the blog, obviously I have a blog for myself where I post movie reviews, so it kind of makes me think. I think it's good that I at least have blog experience, so I can at least write for some stuff for the news whenever there's new necessary material. And I think it's just good to try to get a news blog out there, and just to make sure that just so more people can know about it and know about any potential ideas.
Right.
Tim
Thank
is
you,
a very good writer. He has a very unique voice, and he has written stories or biographies. He's interviewed our entire staff. We have some new ones, Tim, so you're going to be getting to work again.
Right.
But he has written a story or a biography of each of our employees, which will be on our website, on Facebook, and hanging on our walls that are getting printed. And so the first blog post by Tim was published today, so you can check out our website at Rise Life on our website and check out Tim's first blog post. So
I do want to tell you that everybody who's registered for this on this call, we're going to send a follow-up email to you. One is going to have a survey because this is partially grant funded to help us put on the programming that we do. So it's actually a survey from the federal government about the different kind of programming that's happening. We'd love you to fill out that survey. I think also we will put Jimmy's website. Jimmy, that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. Tim, if we can put your blog on there, can we put a link to that?
Yeah. Wait, which blog?
What's that?
your personal one, Tim.
Oh, my personal one? I don't like my review blog.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna type that out in the chat.
Okay, type it in the chat. That's great. And then we will also put where Rise Coffee is, which is off of Sandy Plains Road, right?
Yeah.
And so go in and get your cup of coffee. And Gray, if there's anything you want to share, then let us know. But
I will.
yeah, I just want to let everybody else know that there will be some follow-up. And also, I'm not sure how you heard about this, but Compassionate Atlanta, we have a pretty active Facebook page. We are on Instagram. Gonna Work will have to help me with what I'm missing, but we also have a newsletter. And so if you want to go to or if you want to send an email to info@compassionateatl.org, we can add you to the newsletter so you can hear about upcoming things that are happening. Okay, Kimberly, I give it to you to take us away. Thank you.
Okay. So I just want to thank everybody for attending and being a part of this conversation. And I want to thank each of my panelists for sharing your story, sharing your truth. And I thank you for just bringing your wisdom to this conversation to help each of us live better and celebrate each other more in this world, because that's really what we have to work towards every day.
You're welcome. And
Well, thank you for having us.
thank
you.
Thank you.
I'm very
Bye.
thankful for the opportunity to have taken part of this. Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah.
And I did put my review blog in the chat and stuff.
Cool.
Thank you, Tim. Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much.
No
Thanks,
problem.
everybody. Have a great evening.
Thank
Nice
you
to meet
too.
you all.
Bye.
Nice to meet everybody.
Bye.
Bye.